If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell. If you are listening on your favorite podcast platform, follow, rate, and review the show. It helps us grow and keep these voices alive. Now, stay tuned because we've got two big things coming your way. An exciting new series lifting up the voices of AmeriCorps seniors, and in early 2026, we'll be officially releasing the Get Things Done framework, built from the wisdom and stories shared right here on this podcast.
I kind of found myself asking, what can I do? How can I better serve? So my mom used to have a AmeriCorps sweatshirt. And I remember vaguely, it was a gray AmeriCorps sweatshirt. I don't know how she got it because I don't think she served in NCCC, but it was a gray and it had the AmeriCorps.
Okay.
And then when I was in 7th grade, I went to a program called NYSP, a sports program at Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame, because I'm from South Bend, Indiana. So they came and it was a team of gray sweatshirts, gray shirts, shorts, and they would come every day and they were sprinkled in, helping out. I look back now how impactful that work was. And it's like, starting from round one, we worked in a national forest. So we're doing things like planting willows, building a beaver dam analogs for the beavers and helping out for the environment for the steelhead trout that are coming there, and putting enclosures around these new plants that we planted to keep like the elk out of there and things like that.
So, everybody, thank you so much for joining the AmeriCorps Connections podcast. If you haven't done it already, please hit subscribe. It really makes a difference in the podcast algorithms. So if you like this content and you want it to continue, I just need you to hit subscribe and share it. We did it. We found another AmeriCorps alum to come on to the AmeriCorps Connections podcast. I'm so excited to be here with Zach Steaple, like a steeple on a church or a
Like
safety. Zach, so excited to be connected with you. I know we have talked a few months ago, and now we're actually getting back into recording. So I'm really excited to talk about your NCCC service. You said that you served back in 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
Class 23A, and we're
Class
going to
23A.
totally dive into that. And for all of those NCCC members that are out there, Dana and Benjamin, I'm looking at you. This is going to be another soul-hearted experience. And so here on the AmeriCorps Connections podcast, what we want to do is lift up service. We want to talk about how our service transformed the way that we saw things.
Absolutely.
And then how it led to what we're doing as leaders now in the community. So, Zach, I'm going to just kick it over to you. How did you find out about AmeriCorps, and why the heck did you get on this wild journey?
Ooh, well, that is quite a question and a kind of a lengthy answer. First off, thank you so much for having me. I know, like you said, it's been a long time coming. We've been bouncing back and forth for the last couple months. But for me, service, I guess I'll start with, I never really knew how much it transformed me until recently, the past couple years. And it's always been a part of my life since I was young. Just real quick, starting when I was young, I went to a Catholic high school. And so service just happened to be a part of our religious class. Each semester we had to do a certain amount of hours. So that would be going out and gardening, going out and raking leaves for the elderly. That would be going to food banks, helping at food banks. So we did that each semester. And then moving on into college, I ended up being a Bonner Scholar. So service. Now, shout out to my mom. I didn't really know how much of an important program that was until I got to college. But that idea of service and getting that school money for service, that's really where my head was. But being involved in that. And then it moved on. I ended up leaving school. And so you said, how did I apply? I was at a place to where I need some purpose. Like, I'm at home, I'm changing oils, working on cars, and I have loans that I have to pay back. Because when you leave school, real life comes, real life happens. So I kind of found myself asking, what can I do? How can I better serve? So my mom used to have a AmeriCorps sweatshirt. And I remember vaguely, it was a gray AmeriCorps sweatshirt. I don't know how she got it because I don't think she served in NCCC, but it was a gray and it had the AmeriCorps.
Okay.
And then when I was in 7th grade, I went to a program called NYSP, a sports program at Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame, because I'm from South Bend, Indiana. So they came and it was a team of gray sweatshirts, gray shirts, shorts, and they would come every day and they were sprinkled in, helping out, serving as team leaders. And that always stuck with me, but I never knew what they were. And then fast forward to now, again, not understanding how much service can help others and really understanding my place in service. But I saw NCCC, I saw that it was 18 to 24, and I was 24 turning 25. So I figured how I may not have this experience again. Again,
Why
coming from
not?
that aspect of I need a little help in life financially. I want to stop a little bit. I have nothing to do, so why don't I do this? You travel, you with others. I love meeting new people, and I wanted to go to California. But here's the thing, my entrance was a little slow because they originally put me in Vicksburg for the summer. But then they emailed me like a month before and said, hey, something happened. We're not doing Vicksburg. We can have you go to the fall in the wintertime to Delaware, or not Delaware, excuse me, up to Baltimore, or you can do Iowa. We'll send you. And so they came back eventually, said Baltimore. And I was like, no, I think I'll wait a little bit. And so I waited. They put me on a wait list. Comes back this following fall, Sacramento opens up, and I went for it and I took it. And let me tell you, through the whole year, I did so much. And again, I have my notes. I'm going to go round and round. Through the whole year, I really was in that Scrooge, oh, woe is me, we're doing all this work. But I never realized when I look back now how impactful that work was. And it's like starting from round one, we worked in a national forest. So we're doing things like planting willows, building a beaver dam analogs for the beavers and helping out for the environment for the steelhead trout that are coming there, and putting enclosures around these new plants that we planted to keep like the elk out of there and things like that.
So you said you were planting willows and the beavers and keeping the elk out. Had you had an experience where you were that close to nature?
Oh my gosh, not at all. Every starting there in each round, all these experiences was something I never had done before. And now I never really enjoyed planting or doing anything like gardening. And even then in the moment, because the weather was horrible. Let me tell you, Nikki, we get there and we're in Oregon and it's beautiful. I was in John Day, Oregon. It's one street light. All they had was a Dairy Queen again. So it's small, but the work is great. It's beautiful. The National Forest is beautiful. It snows earlier than they expect. So they sent us with just enough weather material, a sweatshirt, things like that. No snow pants, nothing really to keep us really warm. So the first couple of weeks while we're working, we are horrible. Our attitudes are down. We had to persevere. That's part of the virtues in serving. We got to keep doing. But no, not at all. And it's one of those, so experiences like that, like things, you got to learn the sacrifice. You got to really learn the vulnerability from day one. I think that's such an idea, a concept the whole year, where from day one, it was like, you got to learn to be really vulnerable or it's going to be a tough ride. It's going to be a tough ride. You don't know how much you do enjoy it until you've been through it, until you look back and and you realize it's not so bad. Like people who are like, oh my God, the bugs, all this. Listen, people, not to bump around in my ear. I camped with people. I lived in a house with 14 people. I lived in a church. I smelt the worst. I smelt the best of them. And this is funny, you said about McDonald's. So fast forward, I leave my year, not to jump ahead 2 year, but
That's
I'm
good.
with my
You're
mom.
good.
I haven't really seen my mom all year. I grew up in a single parent household, just to give a little bit about me. So my mom was a big part of my life. She passed away in 2020, unfortunately, but she was a big part of my life and a big reason of who I am now, just to not to keep bouncing around. But I remember she picked me up from the airport in the summer of 2017. And I'm like, Mom, take me to McDonald's. Take me to McDonald's. I need to go. I was fresh off trail building, just eating ramen noodles and eating chips and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and things. And when we were on base and in a house, we have good meals we can cook every once in a while, but it's food. Everything is budgeted. So you're not going, and your portion, you're not going to have all of it for you, not to be a glutton, but you know what I'm saying? You have to learn to share,
Absolutely.
I tell her, I go to McDonald's. And again, like I said, communication is limited throughout the year. There's points where we were just emailing, and I'm talking about I had to go to the gas station and email her because we don't have Wi-Fi at the church. We don't have certain things. Yeah, when we were camping and trail building, so for people who like Netflix, I had to download 7 or 8 episodes in town, an hour and a half away, and bring it back. But to go back to the conversation, I'm having a conversation with my mom, and I'm kind of going over the whole year, all the photos I've been tagged in, and that Scrooge I was talking to you about, how, oh, I'm just doing it for the money, or I'm ready to go, this, that, and the third. I slowly realized, whoa, man, you just had one of the biggest years of your whole life And you appreciate it now, but you really didn't appreciate it. You have this idea, I could have been better for my team. And we did get things done. I will say one thing about my team. We very strong. All of us were very strong headed. We had, the ages varied. We had an 18-year-old all the way up to the two 24-year-olds. So you have that difference there. We had college graduates. We had high school graduates. We had people like myself who had been working for a little bit and things of that nature. So we had all these different heads. So at times we clashed. We had people who, I had a couple people. I had one person from Peru, one person from the West Coast, one person from the North, we had a person who had family from China on our team. So all these different ideas. So there was clashing, but one thing we never forgot. And that's one thing I want to tell people who maybe are going to serve or are serving now. It's hard to see the picture now. It really is. Trust me. What you are doing something important. You will get something from it, because the next year and even now, but definitely after that year and the year or two to come after, I kept telling people, when I was in AmeriCorps, I did this. Or when I was in AmeriCorps, just explaining random situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But going back to my team, yeah, we always knew what we doing in home, and it's that same sports analogy. On the court, we like each other. Off the court, we don't vibe. It's okay. But on the court, we always have a common goal. And that's one thing. And my team leader, God love her, she was 25, turning 26. And I think NCCC is a hard program to just be a team leader, I think, off the jump. I think it's good. It's easier to be a core member and then jump into the team leader processes, because you know the vibe, you know what to expect, you know how to really help your core members and things like that. And I'm not making it sound like they're jumping off a cliff every day, but it is a lot, and it's something you need to be ready for. But she handled us with grace. She did the best she could. Like I said, we had 18 to 24. So you can imagine the kind of arguments and kind of things that may have happened. But again, we had people on our team who, you have the assistant team leader. So even the young ones, they had that can I help some way? I want to come up with an ISP that we can go to. Like my friend Haley, she was 19 at the time. She got us going to Alcatraz. We worked with Golden Gate. I think, where's my notes? Golden Gate Parks. And we did. And so my friends are talking about the game Call of Duty, and they're saying, and I'm telling them, dude, it's the same. Because you go on a self-guided tour, and I'm walking through, and I'm like, dude, it's the same as in the game. And it's so funny, because then that experience, not to jump away from service, but you're hearing all the experiences of those folks who have come to Alcatraz and things like that. So just having that opportunity strictly through AmeriCorps. I did for 3 hours of work that they needed. We worked on a garden there. So that was the lighter service. But what I'm trying to say is, you'll never know what opportunities are going to come your way.
What I'm hearing is that you're in the moment of the moment, and you don't realize what actually happened until you're out of the moment. In all of the things that you experience as an NCCC member, where you're in there, you're responding to the community, you're doing the things, and then service learning, right, is experiential learning, where you then reflect on, what did I expect and what did I experience? Absolutely. I think you're speaking to that so well for NCCC. Yeah. So go on, please continue. I know you have your notes.
No, yeah, and you said, and I want to move into Vegas too, because you said something about helping folks. But it's with the service learning. I mean, it's constant. You don't realize it, even with the work, because you do your group work with your team. You sit down with your team, later you reflect and talk the rounds, your ups and downs. Because like I said, being even the personal things, you're going to be on an up and down roller coaster anyway. Your emotions are going through this new experience. But then also trying to understand and empathize with the people you're helping and putting yourself in your shoes. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but again, it's still so rewarding. And it's hard work. So I tell people, NCCC members now, it's hard work. So don't be hard on yourself. I remember, and again, I'm bouncing around, but I'm gonna keep going. I remember that when they would come in, the old NCCC members, and they would say how good their year was, how I'm doing now. And they would say the friends they made, how long-lasting friends. They might have got married to that friend. They know someone real close. And I remember thinking, yeah, okay. I remember being in there. Okay, I wish I could put my hood up. I wish, because you know, with NCCC, you gotta be dressed to the nines. Your boots gotta be laced. Everything's gotta be together. I was one who, at 24, I like to bounce against order a little bit. I like to have my earbuds out instead of in, even though I shouldn't have had them at all. But either way, I remember thinking, that's not going to be me. I hear you. This has been great. But again, I agree with them 115%. I have friends now who, who have moved on to other things. Who I have a friend who's done a nonprofit, friend who's moved on to Peru. I have a friend in Thailand, and then some of these friends, the last two I specifically, are closer than I trust those individuals. It's so funny. I may have only seen them in batches of time, few snippets, just because from all over the country. But it's how interesting how you become so trustworthy of those folks than the people you see every day, because I know what we've been through together. But it's interesting going into service still. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say, one of the things that National Service, NCCC, and some other services, the opportunity is to be with folks that are so different from you.
So it gives you practice to understanding other people, like you said. So when you go into different situations, it's easy practice because you have these different people with you every day, whether it be just the simple thing as, so we had one friend from New Jersey on our team. She didn't pump gas.
That's basically from a different country.
Yeah. And so I believe it was New Jersey where she couldn't pump the gas, but
yeah.
And so she was like, how do you do it? And me, as a person who's never experienced that as a driver, I was just like, what are you talking about? But really, she had never done it. And when I went to Oregon and we went to pump gas, the guy ran out the gas and stopped me from putting it in. He was like, no, I'll do that for you because that's how they do it. So smaller things like that. And then bigger things culturally, obviously, you have those differences.
It sounds like your NCCC year, I like to say NCCC tripping into my NCCC, tripping into that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's really how it was for me.
From that experience, one of the things I've been asking folks that I've been interviewing is, what was something that you couldn't unsee? So in our life, we have these cognitive bias. During your service year, if you're just tuning into the AmeriCorps Connections podcast, you might not know a lot about NCCC, but different from other service opportunities, NCCC does a bunch of
spikes. Yeah.
Right. So you might be doing taxes one day, and then you might be blazing trails 2 weeks later.
We did from trail building to energy, infrastructure to, community outreach, all that different stuff. Yeah.
So it's for your service year, it might be different to be, I saw these different, my cognitive bias was, all these different areas. So where were some things where you were, wow, I can't unsee that? And
you led me right into where I was going. It's
okay,
so funny.
Good. Do it.
So we did round one. So round two, we're in Las Vegas, 10 weeks. And for us, I remember our team leader told us when we were in John Day, Oregon, it was so cold. She was like, we're going to Vegas. And she surprised us. And it was this whole thing because we joked, the government finally blessed us from this cold. They're going to send us to Vegas. And with that, Nicki, we worked with the guy his name was Arnie Stalk. And I haven't had much touch with him recently. I know much what he's doing now, but he was working with Veterans Village. And we kind of and that's who provided our housing. So we had the boys lived in the studio and the girls split 2 studios. And he took us to North Las Vegas. And he took us to what he called Skid Row. And so you talked about something you can't unsee. So our purpose there in Las Vegas was to assist with the homeless census. So basically, we weren't to interact or communicate with any of the homeless folks just because they were unsure of where some have maybe some mental states that they weren't quite sure of. They might need more help than need. So there's a team that's trained for that type of outreach. But in the middle of the night, we were sent out to count. So whether it be an encampment, and this was places that everyday people go, like supermarkets, bus stations, going down the street. So there's that. But even more, going back to the story with North Las Vegas, you see it for no other word, just poverty stricken is the word of what you could say. These individuals who you wonder, and again, the naive person in you wonder how did they get here? But then how could we have let this happen? How could this have happened? What happened in their life that they got here? So that's the humbling point immediately, whether you understand or not. That's the humbling thing. And you see them, some people in wheelchairs, some people who may not have been able to bathe recently, but they're laying in the streets. Some have tents up, but if Nicki is literally, I'm talking about, how when people line up for a concert and they are in tents and they right back, it's just down the line. And I'm talking about the street. I'm like, am I in Las Vegas or am I in a really a stricken third world country or something like that? Where am I at? And I see all of that. And like you said, it's something you can't unsee. So it's like, what can I do now? And I know that was a
Yes.
big thing. So like, how can I help? Because, and we actually worked with Vista members. That was so fun because we got to see, and they were so cool. They invited with Vista, they have their own house, they get a stipend, they get their own housing and things like that. So we were able to go and connect with them and see, and they took us around Las Vegas. So it was cool to see their idea of and their side of it. But it was like, yeah, that was really, and that's something even now, even going down the street, something I do. You know what? You know how everybody in the car, they see the person on the street with the sign, and sometimes it's just the simple, anything would help. Sometimes it's the funny guy who goes, even a smile would work, or I'm doing honk if you see me. But that's true because these are people. They're
Yeah.
still people. And so I
So
do my best to even wave or smile because you don't know how they got here. So there's no reason to judge.
So two things about that. Number one, I think the acknowledgement of the eye to eye. I see you as a human. I have nothing for you right now.
Right. Yeah.
And you
You
see
saw me.
them.
It's
Yes.
funny. I was talking with a coworker the other day. She did something good at work and somebody had mentioned something and we just joked about, yeah, you're being seen.
You're being seen.
People don't, and that's why when we talking, I'm jumping ahead again where I work now.
I know. We're all over the place.
Yeah.
That's the best part of this podcast.
Working, I work at a
No
school now.
producers.
Yeah. I'm working at the school now, and we'll get there. I work in a kindergarten class, but my older kids who I may not see all day long, even if I just see them for a moment,
Oh,
I say, hey, such and such, or hey, such and such, just because I see them looking down. I remember being a kid, getting out the car. I just argued with my mom about something, getting straight about something that went over. So I don't know what they're thinking, but I just want to let them know, I see you walking. Have a good rest of the day. We're not going to interact because you up in middle school or you up in 5th grade. I'm down in kindergarten. But I just want to let you know I see you. And so just those little things.
that's so important. And I think where we are right now as humanity is that seenness, that like
Yeah.
recognition that we're human. We're human.
Yeah. It comes to that favorite word, empathy, and I know that people throw that around a lot, but some people don't know how to do that too. So you got to be patient with people, but it just starts with a smile. It just starts with listening, and then you go from there and see.
Yeah, and we won't go down this rabbit hole, but
We could go for days.
everything in your experience is just a reflection of you.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to yourself in that moment? What would you want to hear? That's really big. And then that means that we have to be our biggest fans.
Right. And you mentioned that. That's the thing. I try to be for these children what I would have wanted.
Yes.
And being there for that. And just and like you said, making sure you're seeing it. It's huge because like I said, you don't know what that might do, the confidence that might build in people. And going back to NCCC, all these, once you see you've done these hard things, like I said, counting the homeless people and seeing what you can do to help them. And then even moving into my 3rd round where I helped with the fire recovery and we did a lot of fence building. We heard a lot of fire stories. We heard people who, where they were living, they couldn't do anything but fight the fire back. There was no leaving.
Wow.
There was just fighting. Yeah. And again, I mentioned my friend Haley. She was interviewing folks and I got to come in because she was a social media rep for us. I got to come in on a couple of interviews and you hear their stories and it sounds something out of a movie. It's just one of those, and it was so natural for them. This is what we had to do. Another lady, we got to visit with her. Her name was Jermaine. We got to visit with her and see kind of the building of what was being built, but lost her whole home or most of her home, I believe. And we got to see a church came and they anointed and blessed the house for her because she was a faith-based woman. So that was good to see those kind of, you get to be a part of those moments as a crew. It wasn't a work day. It was just us holding hands and being together and being happy for this person. And again, whether religion or creed, and that's the thing that when you come together again, wherever you from, you having this one common goal. So.
And community goes across everything. Like community is community. It's color, creed, religion, everything.
Yeah, because it's just about you never know what someone's going through, and you never know. That's why I think it's so good to try to not make your bad day somebody else's bad day, and just to continue to just keep it as positive as you can, because you never know when you yourself might need help.
You might need it, yeah. So one of the things I want to pull a little thread here. And I love this because I love it when I hear like similar stories. So your mom was, hey, there's this thing, national service, and I don't want to really do that. And then I really want to do that.
Yeah.
And then it grabbed you, right?
Right.
Like it was like it grabbed you during your service year. And a lot of times we don't recognize like the impact of the service until afterwards.
Yeah.
Where was it in your service where you're like, I'm a national service member and I'm doing this shit and this is fucking cool?
You know, for
Sorry for all
me,
the swearing.
no, you're fine. No, that's cool. For me, that makes me comfortable. For me, it was more. I feel I'm very hard on myself now, Nikki. You'll hear me when I talk to my team because I really didn't appreciate it until. So it's the end of in between third round. We had such a good time. Like when you come back to base, everybody's seeing each other, and I was reflecting. I was waiting on my flight home, and that's when you realize what hit. So my story is a little different. My story is more of now I know how much service is, and from that moment at McDonald's I told you with my mom, that was more when I realized how global, how great of an impact it was.
Yeah.
Now there were moments in where you are like, man, this is pretty cool. Like when I was in the Vegas, we got to this is Lowe's. We did a Lowe's thing at a convention center where they all came and they built these plastic. It was like a competition where all these Lowe's companies from all over the country would come and they built these tables, and we kind of just facilitated walking around and seeing if you needed help and things like that. So it was like I saw it as the cool things you got to see, and also driving down Las Vegas Boulevard, and I'm in the AmeriCorps van. I mean, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'm in the AmeriCorps van with my teammates, and we have the windows down, and we're looking out at all the lights, and also giving a Vegas pitch. It wasn't all being there. We saw that it was more than just all the lights and city. It's a community. There's people there who need things. There's so much there. But yeah, to answer your question, Nikki, for me, service until I got to where I am now, and my experience when I wanted to be a team leader, but then that didn't work so well. But I realized in these past few years how much it has made me in the virtues and what it's led me to. And again, I'm just being held. The universe is just pulling me, and I have no idea.
Yeah.
So that's for me. So I wish that I had appreciated it more during, because people were telling me, like my buddy Joel, who he started his own nonprofit. You really need to connect with him. I've been telling him he needs to connect with you because he has a story to tell as well. He would tell me all the time, buddy, just do it. Why are you Scrooging up? Because I feel so bad. And I'm so apologetic to my teammates because I wasn't a hard. I'm joking like I'm joking now, but you realize how much more, like again, I've mentioned, you could be for your team. I like to err on the side of being funny, making sure people are comfortable. And in moments to where we were uncomfortable, I probably could have did more. For example, the camping and things like that. So for me, I'm very apologetic to my teammates, but in that sense of, you know what, we did that, but look where we are now. And I'm so appreciative of that experience that we had. So, and we joke now, we're talking about doing reunions, hopefully, but yeah, for me, it's more now. My story is that I realized how in the past few years, how much that service meant to me and what I'm doing. Yeah, I should have gave myself grace, but I guess talking to the person, because for me, you know what's so funny, Nikki? I used to get on the van, the 12-passenger van, and I would walk all the way myself to the back seat and position myself because I knew that felt like that could be the furthest I was for my team. But again, like you said, you got to give yourself grace. For me, I think with the experience I saw, and I see it now was a second chance for me because I didn't finish school when I went to Earlham the first time on my 18 to 20. I came home, was looking for purpose. It ended up being a second shot at me to go back to school, quote unquote. You with all these folks, you're getting resume experience. Like when we were in Las Vegas, we had a lady come and she did mock interviews with us, and we were learning about different resumes and how you tailor to certain such. They gave us a book to do it. It's one of those to where I realized the experience I had, giving yourself grace, things like that. So I try not to be as apologetic. You just realize where you were, you realize, and I was fighting that whole college thing because I saw another thing. You may not be sure of yourself. A person who's going to a program like this may not know who they are. And I think that was a big thing for me. I didn't know quite who I was. I wanted to get from life in the service year. And I saw so many people who seemed so sure of that. So I think that's part of what it was for me too.
And that makes so much sense. And I think it goes along the same lines of imposter syndrome and should I really be here? And also like one of the things I will say about you going to the back of the bus and being like, this is the person that I am. Mm-hmm. What's so important, one of the biggest messages that you might be able to contribute out of this interview is that you were that person where you felt like, yeah, I don't really want to be involved. Mm. And then you circled back around and you're like, no, I I really want to be involved. And
Well,
you
yeah,
owned
yeah,
it. And what's important is that it's okay to change your mind on things.
yeah,
It's okay to
absolutely.
feel like, I don't really like this. And then to be like, actually, that is actually really important to me. And I'm going to do that.
And you know what? It's so funny because one of my unit, like I was giving you that point about, you pull it together, we may have been off the court such and such, but on the court we pull it together. My unit leader then, his name was Dustin. He asked me to be a team leader, and I wish I had done a team leader year right back around because my buddy George did that and he loved it. And like you said, it's so funny. You look at that service year, and like I said, I think life experience would do it too. You
Yeah.
look back, but again, I was like, man, you fool, especially as you get older, you had all this fun. So and I always tell people, don't put so much harping on age and pivoting.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm going through now at 33, working in a kindergarten class and still not sure if teaching is where I want to stay. It feels good. Being Mr. Zach feels really good right now. It's okay to not know as long as and I think it's one thing that
Yes.
people have to work on is you're making the positive steps to you. And that could be slow. It could be, like I said, going to yoga a couple times a week, like I've been doing just to get that
Love that.
mindfulness or that reflection. It could be volunteering once a week. And again, and that's why I connect with you because I found myself, yes. And I hope we get to talk about where I work now because there's so many virtues that come from my service here, but being able to understand and where you are and things like that. So
Yeah,
it's
I would love to roll into what you're doing now and
yeah.
how you're taking those virtues and
Yeah, people say that I always joke. I say I'm too insecure to work with middle school because they will let you know, like today, like I had my hat off for just a hot second and the kids were frying me to death. So it's like that. I work with kindergarten because it's easy. But
so tell us what you're doing. Tell us
yeah,
your joy.
so it's working with kiddos has always been punching me in the face, but I always looked at it as a gig. It was just something that naturally I felt I was decent at. Like it's going to be a while now. Like I started when I was 16. I'm 33 now. And so I worked at my after school program. Fast forward, I did other
Yeah.
things, leasing in between after, like I worked so fourth round, not to bounce back, fourth round, worked in a kindergarten class for part of my fourth round and then did trailblazing that round.
That's so funny.
So we worked in Sacramento at Washington Elementary. Shout out to Dr. G. If she hears this, we worked there because they needed aides in the class. So moving to now, where I am in life, I found this school. It's called Cornerstone Learning Community. And they're big, and I got my notes here. I can't mess it up because their mission on their website, they have at the top, it's a private school with a public mission. And so for us, and it's something here, and shout out to Mr. Jason, he's not the director here any longer. He stepped away. Miss Anne-Marie Small is our director now. Shout out to her. But they fostered this idea in my head, and it's a mission CLC's always done, of service and community and inclusivity. And that's something coming back from the service year and something I felt in my heart that I needed. And where I was in life, it just seems to fit like a glove. So I work as an assistant in a kindergarten class now, and we're very big on it's a project-based school, and our kindergarten education kind of courses like very play-based and things like that. But with that though, we're big on independence. For snack time, they know how to get their rag and their spray to wash their tables. They know how to wait for their ticket. They know how to take their chairs down. They know how to use the microwave if they need the food and things like that. But one big thing, and my lead teacher, Miss Rochelle, I'm just giving shout outs, but shout out to her. She's big on early intervention. And that idea of not just with the academics, because the academics will come. They'll read when they read. They'll count when they count. But it's that idea of, and their other line, I have it here, is empowering and inspiring compassionate global learners. So global, not in the sense of worldwide. Yes, we need to know our neighbors from different countries, but the whole person, the whole self, the mental, the physical, the emotional. Nicki, I came back to these social emotional learning lessons we do with these kindergartners, and I'm sitting in the back like, oh my God, I needed this. Because we talk about simple things like routine stuff, like where to put our things back. And just,
I'm enlightened with
that idea we're built off of, the school is built off I think it's 7 core virtues. Yeah, I have them in here. It's compassion, giving, honesty, self-discipline, perseverance, respect, and responsibility. So there's a unit on each, and we have the kiddos. We go over books with them about these virtues. A lot of our coursework is built around these virtues because, again, they need those skills. They need to know how to persevere because, again, like with service, they need to have responsibility. They need to have self-discipline because you gotta, like we tell them, knowing what you have to do, even though you don't want to do it. And let me tell you, that was 75% of my days in AmeriCorps. Knowing what you have to do and not wanting to do it, but still doing it because there are people relying on you, and that's that team aspect. Where I am, that part, it's really shaped. Like I said, I think I need to be here for these kiddos. Like I said, and like I don't know if I want to continue to be in teaching, but I know Mr. Zach, I'm a better human when I'm Mr. Zach. And so with that, and that comes from sort of like what I learned in routines, like even now in the rest of my life, I like to get up and work out before I come to school. We did that. Our PTs were in the morning, especially when we're on base, 6 a.m., 5 o'clock sometimes, and you're doing whatever, and then you start in your day, and you might have something after the end of the day, things like that. So where I am now, and I think it's just, again, like, not to harp on the school, but it's just they're so big on, and I know there's other communities out there, but we don't care where you come from, what faith you are, what creed you are, and I know there is people who believe that, but the safety here. And also, we provide a peace corner in our room and things like that. It's just that idea of being safe, because I don't think you can learn without feeling comfortable, and that's one thing for me why I'm so big on. I think other teachers, especially male teachers, I guess, if I'm leading that example, just to remember, and I think I'm more of a child anyway, but to remember where you are. Remember, they see you. Embarrassment is just as big then. Remember how embarrassed you were then? It hasn't changed, has it? Really got to put and realize. So I feel like I'm in a good place with them. But yeah, it's you got to remember where you are, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. And CLC is really doing that for me.
I love everything that you said, and I really like that you talked about the male interjection in there, and that's one of the things that makes me so proud of my son, because he's making a difference in these kids' lives, and a man, and he's kind, and he's showing boys how to be empathetic and have fun, and he's showing young girls what a good man is. And maybe I'm out of pocket and maybe I need to edit this, I don't know, but a man of color too is super important to be in our school system.
I mean, you're right.
It just is.
You're right. And especially for me, you're right. I'm sure we're out there, but in terms of working, especially with the younger kids, you don't see it too often. And I have one of my parents today, because we don't see males too often. And I'm like, people are like, I love to bring it in, because I used to work in daycare too before then. I like to always bring it in, and people are
oh my God, you are like my son's doppelganger.
Yeah. Well, because like I said, it just always seemed easy. And that's, you idiot, Zach. It's been staring in my face this whole time. But it's that idea of, I take it really serious. Now it's become, I used to think I was a little too silly. And it's that idea of being passionate about what you do. And maybe that too silly was just my passion. And that's where I am now. And I'm really, because kids always say, oh, you're so funny and so silly. The idea is they're going to be the same, if not better, after they leave for me. I almost, in that sense, this is a funny thing, but when Finding Nemo with the stingray who's floating away, like, I got him. Just go ahead, Daddy. You take him away. But yeah, because my thing is, then not to talk about money, but what are you paying us to do? What are we here to do other than making sure and taking care of them, just like parent? And that's what we talk about, teamwork and collaboration with the parents too. Not to tangent off, but we're a team here. What we do, we're a team here, things like that. So I hope we can collaborate. So, but yeah, that's my spiel on children.
Like, I might have to cut this out of the podcast, but I want to put you in connection to my son, because I feel like you guys are like spirit animals. Like, he did after school programs, and let's wrap this with, so Zach.
Yes.
Your service year was from NCCC, which gives you so many opportunities to do so many things, blazing trails, planting willow trees, doing something with salmon, like doing all this stuff in the community. So wrap up, tell us all, if somebody didn't know anything about national service, what is something that they should know? And then what is something that they should do? And one more thing.
Yes.
If they are an alum, what should they do?
What I want to see from, well, to start with, if someone didn't know national service, I would say, I know for me personally, I've always wondered about things, but how can I help? Where can I help? So when it comes to a person that does no national service, I would tell them it's needed. And if they ask, what is national service? Friend, that's a very interesting question. It can be a number of things. It can be as small, like we said, getting your boots dirty. It can be helping you go on the FEMA Corps route, things like that. So the I would just tell them, ask questions. If you're interested in something, if you're passionate about something, ask questions, see how you can help. But I would tell national service is needed because we need to understand how to help, because we need to be the solution, not just looking at the problem. And that's, people want to say, what am I going to do? What do I do? And why do I need to help? It's not just helping. You may not be able to help everybody, but just like that idea of just helping a little bit at a time, it'll sprinkle and seed out. So to answer that question, just ask questions, continuously ask questions, see where you can help, volunteer, go out, get out of the box. And speaking to the next question was about alums, you said, and what do I want
Yes.
to see?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I just want to see more. And that talks about that conversation we had before. I want to know what you're doing, especially for my year and other folks. What are you doing now?
Yes.
How can I help what you're doing? What it is, like you said, with the stories, we got to tell more stories. We got to find a way to connect and get out more. And me, like I said, I don't know. I don't have all the connections. I've watched a lot of your episodes. I see all these people and what they're doing and where they're coming from. But it's one of those to where even like my little group here in my little community, taking their ideas and sprinkling it out and seeing what I can do and things like that. So yeah, and speaking to the alums, let's connect with you, number one, and then let's see what we can do. I want to talk more. I want to see whatever those conversations be. I want to see us continually to serve. And like you said, whether that be us like newsletter, things of that nature, but I want us to I want to see more. I want to hear more. And that's for me included. I want to do the work. So that just be reaching out to former people in my year, or just connecting on whatever AmeriCorps board or whatever I can see and things like that. Yeah. What are you doing? How can I be more authentic with what you're doing? How can I help? Things of that nature.
Zach, this was so good. And those last words were perfect. I have nothing else.
You really don't realize how much you can help, even with little. You think you can't, put a band, but you don't realize how much little even effort you give, how much in the long run that can really do. So it's just about, like you said, just asking questions, see what we can do and things like that.
This was so good. Thank you so much, Zach. I appreciate it. And folks, if you've gone this far in the episode, you may as well like, subscribe, and do everything that needs to do. I'm really trying to boost my views. So let's all really like this and share this episode.